Hello everyone. Hi, this is Puneet here from Unix Systems. I can see some more attendees joining the webinar, so I think we'll wait for another 1 minute before we start the presentation, and then we can start, right? So I'll be in mute for another 1 minute, and we'll start in a minute's time. Thank you. Hi everyone. Uh, so I think it's time to start. Um I see there are some people still joining, but I think it's time, and we'll start with the webinar today. So a quick introduction. I am Puneet. I represent Hurix Systems, and I'm responsible for the global product sales within Hurix. Hurix as an organization has been into business for about 15 plus years, and we've been working with the publishing vertical along with uh, institutions, corporates in general, and also with professional training organizations for the past 15 plus years in addressing their e-learning needs. And I'm very excited to discuss about this interesting topic, which is future of academic publishing. So without delaying any further, so I think we'll start. So if you look at the publishing industry, at a very high level and see how it has transformed over the years, you would notice that the rise of consumption from an ebook perspective has been increasing. So if you look at certain statistics, you would see there has been a consistent rise in the number of ebook consumption and the market share of ebooks on the whole. Uh, if you look at the current generation, and if you look at the K-12 generation, or people who are doing their higher studies, there's obviously, from a content consumption point of view, the demand has been more consistently increasing for better content and interactive content vis-a-vis what we had when we had print books in majority. uh, in terms of publishing requirements, if you notice, uh, the layouts are now more sophisticated. The designs are more sophisticated. The typography is different. You have multimedia in the books. You've got interactivities in the book. You've got various language support in ebooks, which is, if you compare it with the print books, which quite there's a significant change in that trajectory. uh, all of this mostly, I mean, if you look at the consumption patterns and if you look at the rise in ebooks, it's mostly fueled by the rise of technology. If you look at the year on year increase in the use of smartphones globally, that's about 42% year on year. So that's pretty, that's rising at a great rate. And there's an increased amount of digital learners as on date. So if you looked at some 2009 data, you were talking about 2.2 million digital learners globally, which is increased 5 times when we were in 2014, and that's about 10.4 million digital learners. Uh, a lot of teachers, I mean, historically we've been talking about that, teachers, technology is not what teachers are supposed to understand. Technology is complex for teachers and things like that. However, with various solutions being available in the market today, along with certain solutions that are simple to use, they're easy to understand, and so technology for teachers has been simplified, and about 70% teachers use or support technology in classrooms in various ways possible. So that's where the industry has kind of transformed over the last couple of years. And moving on, Urix as an organization, we've been at the forefront of this transformation. We've had a portfolio of products and services that have been supporting the publishing companies across the globe in their quest for moving along with the change that the industry has been witnessing. Uh, we are an organization that provides enterprise learning solutions. We have flagship products, Kitaboo and Dictera. Uh, Kitaboo is an award-winning digital textbook platform that has been adopted by various publishing organizations globally. Dictera is a high-end, the next generation content authoring platform that lets you author digital content from scratch. Apart from that, as an organization, we've also been providing learning management solutions, uh, customized apps and mobile solutions, file conversion services, EPUB conversions, Flash to HTML services, etc., across multiple domains. So not just publishing, but we've had our footprint spread across various industry verticals globally. So, now looking at coming back to the academic publishing sector, and trying to understand what changes has this sector witnessed with regards to technology. And we like to call it the PDM paradigm, wherein we say we classify the whole sector into three major segments. We say it is print. So it is like saying print, digital, mobile. In other words, past, present, and future, right? So if you look at the past, and when we looked at the print world, which was 100% print, it used to be a publisher who would generate content, own the content, it will go to a printer who will print it, it goes to a distributor, and then typically goes to a learner. So that's the kind of value chain that we had when we spoke about past. So I am saying print is in past because most of the geographies that we see today, there have been enough technology advances, and print to that extent has been decreasing quite a lot. So there's a consistent dip in the consumption of print patterns, whereas the digital piece is increasing. When I say digital, it is uh, simply put, content being created and consumed on, say, desktops or computers, right? So, digital typically is the present state where most of the content is today, from a publishing point of view, is created using a computer or a laptop or softwares like InDesign and things like that. And then even the consumption to an extent, and we talk about ebooks. is happening on from a digital perspective on computer devices. Now, from a value chain perspective, if you notice, the learner usually receives this ebook or content through a technology platform that can be supported by any technology provider that supports ebooks or provides an ebook text e-textbook platform. So from a value chain perspective, it has kind of got shrunk. It is more targeted, it is more linear in that sense. And the future obviously is mobile. I mean, we all understand that, and we all know that from the changing consumption patterns and the demand side of things, everybody wants content on the move, right? So they want to consume content on the move. And the way we're seeing the change in the market, we also understand that then in the near future the content will also be created on the move on mobile devices and then consumed. And because we're talking about mobile devices, we can also talk about things like collaboration of that particular content within a group of students or between teacher and students and things like that. So this is our understanding of how the publishing industry is moving in the direction it is moving. And print was the past, digital is the present, and mobile is going to be the future. uh, Again, like I said, we like to call it the pdm paradigm, and we also classify into 4C matrix. So if you look at the major pillars of the publishing world, it is the most important is creating content, right? And then if you want to look at it through the pdm paradigm, in the print environment you were creating content through you know uh, using some kind of technology. We're today in the present, you're I think we're using the same technology. I mean, it's the computers and it's the desktops and the laptops that you use to create content, but the future is obviously going to be mobile, as I said during the previous slide, that your authors and your instructional designers and all the roles that are responsible for creating content in a publishing organization would want to have that ability to be able to create content on the move and create digital content. Say for example, create html5 ready content, for example, right? So they would want to create all of that from scratch. As on date, if you talk about the present state, uh, any publisher who's got print content and they want to move to digital, what they typically do is take their PDFs or take their print books and then get them converted into industry accepted standards, or get them converted using a technology platform and make them into ebooks and then distribute it to their end users, right? In essence, what they're really doing is converting their PDFs into ebooks, right? The future is going to be being able to create content which is digital from scratch, right? So we can easily anticipate that it's going to be not very far away that all the content will be created digitally from scratch, right? Now, coming back to the second pillar of the publishing industry, where the consumption kind of takes place, right? So we're talking about the end users now. In the past, obviously, consumption was on the physical printed books. The present is a combination, I'd say, right? So because there are certain geographies which are still reliant on print books to an extent, majorly because of infrastructure, lack of infrastructural development in those geographies. But if you look at countries that have adequate infrastructure to support the digital requirements of the consumption market, uh, they have already to a great extent moved to the ebooks environment. And at present, the consumption of those that content and those ebooks happens digitally, either through desktops or laptops, or in some cases even on mobile, right? For some developed economies, it's they've taken that leap, and a certain section of the student community is using mobile devices as on date for consuming the content. uh, the future obviously is mobile, like I said. So your end users are more and more moving towards using mobile devices. And obviously they want their consumption patterns as on date and in the coming future would demand for content to be available in mobile devices. So for example, you can talk about responsive designs of content that can fit in a mobile device and things like that. So therefore a need for the publishing industry to be ready for the future and have and ensure that they can make their content available on mobile. The third very important pillar is, this is again linked to the digital and the mobile world, because we're talking about collaboration here, being able to provide collaboration opportunities to the end user. So I can explain collaboration in a little more detail. So for example, if it's a group of school, if a group of students in a particular class, and they they're using a particular ebook, and they want to collaborate on that ebook. So if I am a student and I highlight a certain section of the book and I have a question about that particular section, your digital and mobile platforms give you an opportunity to highlight that particular section, make a comment about that section on the ebook, and then be able to share that comment with your fellow students or with the teacher with a question, and the teacher can respond back, the fellow students can respond back. Right, so I'm talking about collaboration on that particular piece of content. Now, obviously, in the past, in the print environment, it wasn't possible. Unless I had a print version and I would make some annotations and notes with a pen on that, and then share that book with my fellow, student, and that's how you would typically share notes, right? But in a digital and a mobile environment, you get an opportunity to be able to collaborate and share annotations on content. Now, from a mobile perspective, collaboration is anyways dependent on mobile, right? So in the digital world, yes, we see some kind of collaboration today, but look, talking about the future, mobiles are going to drive that need, and are going to be able to support collaboration opportunities on content. So again, from a publisher's point of view, it is very important to start thinking about future as on date, because this is where the industry is really moving. In terms of commerce, now this is another interesting area. I mean, commerce, when I talk about, I'm talking about being able to sell your content, right? So if you look at the past, you had the distributor network, and that may prevail even today, like I said, in certain geographies. So the past really was to be able to make your books available physically in a bookshop, and your end users come there and buy it. From in terms of your B2B order fulfillment, you'll kind of do it. Uh, you might have a school who wants to procure books from you. You would print the books, apply a set of logistics, ship those books to the school, and then they'll start consuming it. So that was what really happened in the print environment. When you look at the digital environment, is usually happening, the ebook environment, the procurement process or the commerce piece of it happens online, right? So there are various channels even available today. So if you look at certain developed economies and certain large publishing houses, they've already adopted multiple channels of distribution of their content. So for example, I mean, you can have your content made available through individual distribution channels, like which have a direct B2C kind of an engagement. So you can have your content available on Amazon, right? Otherwise, you have digital platforms that will let you enable P2P order fulfillment capabilities. And so in essence, what you're doing is you're allocating a certain set of books, or licensing a certain set of books to an institution, and then the institution directly allows its end users to access those ebooks. The future, again, as I said, is going to be mobile driven. There is a need to have multiple channels, because as a publishing organization, you don't want to miss either of them. You want to have a B2C channel where you are able to touch base with the end users directly. Certain geographies operate on that model, even in the K-12 sector for that matter. So for example, if you look at the Australian market, education market, the government doesn't really drive any curriculum requirements there in most parts of Australia, and it is the teachers who advise the students to go buy content from a certain publisher. So all these publishers have digital libraries available across these schools, and it's the teachers who advise, and the students then go and procure, right? However, in certain geographies, if you notice, it's the government that has certain amount of control on the curriculum, and then schools or institutes adopt that curriculum and then select a particular publishing organization, or in some cases, even the publishers have to fall in line with what the government directives are in terms of building a piece of content for that academic year, and then publishers build that content and then have a B2B engagement with the schools and supply that content in a B2B arrangement to the school, and school further distributes licenses for those particular ebooks to students, right? So that's how it is going to transpire. So I just gave you an example of how different geographies kind of behave, and therefore it is important for publishing organizations to have various channels of distribution to ensure they're able to tap a larger market size. So that's what we call the print, digital, and mobile paradigm combined with the 4C matrix that we just spoke about. Uh, I was talking about distribution in my previous slide, and I'm just going to touch upon it in a little more detail, because this is one of the most important pieces apart from content generation in a publishing value chain. So content generation is obviously really important, and to ensure that you have the right uh, content and the right books, and then obviously to be able to understand the market trends and be able to distribute it to a wider audience. That's because that's what drives revenues for publishing companies. uh, if you look at the mainstream distribution channels as on date, you know I'm sure most of you would know about open access channels, right? So this is basically, in simple words, it's like saying that all these publishing houses that have journals, they just allocate a master license or um, a bulk licensing to an institution or to a college, and then the college decides to give maybe unlimited access to all its students for those particular journals, right? uh, they've really substituted the subscription paywalls, which used to work historically, wherein the student will subscribe to that particular journal directly with on the publisher's website or their web store. So you have open access journals are nowadays mainstream. We've also seen a rise in massive open online course business, and you've got so this is basically organizations putting a whole lot of content online available for consumption, and irrespective of the number of times it is being consumed, or irrespective of uh, the number of courses that you take access to, right? And then obviously there's this omni channel of ebook distribution. So we've been in this business for close to 15 years, so we know a lot of publishing organizations that don't depend on a single distribution channel for their publishing business, right? So they have various channels decided for institutional catering. So if they want to cater to 100 institutions in a particular geography, they've got a B2B order fulfillment system and a distribution system built in place for their ebooks. uh, but they also don't want to miss on the direct business that they get from end consumers, and so they've got another channel that they build, maybe a web store that they build, and ensure that all the content is made available there as well for easy procurement to its end users. And then there are third party marketplaces where they still continue to post their content, and that generates another revenue channel and a distribution channel for them. Now, I'm coming back to Heurix, and I'm going to talk about a little more in detail in terms of how Heurix has been empowering this modern day publishing ecosystem. So, if you notice, if you're a publisher, your journey really starts from uh, creating new content, and working on your existing content to make it better, and then channelizing it through various distribution channels, right? Now if you look at your existing content and we take that piece, we are working with a lot of publishing organizations globally as on date, wherein we take their existing content, convert them into ebooks. Now when I say convert them, we've got a platform which is Kitaboo. All right. It's an award-winning platform, and Kitaboo gives you an opportunity to enhance your existing content, make it interactive, make it add multimedia to it, add videos, audios, add widgets, assessments, to your existing content, which is typically PDF based, right? And once you've done that, it also gives you multiple distribution channels that can be used. So you can apply a B2B distribution channel, and you can have multiple schools as customers, and you can issue bulk licenses to schools, and then schools can act as sub distributors and distribute those licenses to its end users. Now that's pretty straightforward a value chain. But then there are more complexities that come into the distribution model for various publishers, because from your existing content you may just want to create interactive ebooks, but you also would want to create, say, fixed layout EPUB 3 outputs, because that's another industry standard in terms of ebooks, that is an accepted industry standard, right? So Kitaboo as a platform gives you an opportunity to do that as well, right? So you can either have interactive ebooks on the Kitaboo platform in Kitaboo native format, or you could have a plain EPUB fixed layout output that you can export out of the platform and then put it on, that can be rendered on iBooks or Android based readers like Ridium, etc. Right? Now that's about, again, coming back to the existing content. So now we've spoken about taking your existing content, either converting into an interactive book or an EPUB output, and then being able to distribute to various other channels. Now, what if you wanted to do a B2C kind of distribution, or wanted to enable a B2C distribution, right? Kitaboo and Hurix, as within its own product suite, we are also able to offer you a white label, ebook store, right? A white label web store, so that you can enable B2C distribution as well. Now, within a web store, and I know I'm getting into too many details here, but within a web store as well, we give you sub-publisher concepts, wherein you can invite more publishing organizations to come and contribute content, and the sale can happen through the web store channel, right? One example here is, we've got a customer in Spain. They're one of the biggest academic publishing companies in Spain, but they've got 6 publishing houses within the same organization, right? So if they wanted to build a white label web store for them, we could do it for them, and they can have all these 6 sub publishers come and contribute content, and which can be hosted on this web store, and then can be procured by their end users through the web store, right? So this is all about your existing content. But what if you wanted to create digital content from scratch, right? We've got another product which is called Kitaboo Author. Okay, now what Kitaboo Author lets you do is create HTML5 reflowable content from scratch. Okay, so you're able to create mobile ready content from scratch. You don't have for whatever new content that you create. Plus it also gives you an opportunity to enrich it, right? So all that Kitaboo offers you as a whole platform is also available to you while you're on Kitaboo Author, because you're authoring all those widgets and adding multimedia and interactivities to your content. So all in all, if you see the product suite that is being offered by Hurix, at a very high level, we are able to address the need of any publishing company trying to move from past to present, which is from print to digital, or from present to future, which is from digital to mobile, right? So we are able to offer you a platform that can let you go digital, and in a short span of time. We can take all your legacy content and enrich it and make it available through various channels. Either you want to do B2B or B2C or B2B2C and various other distribution channels. What if you want to create new content, digital mobile ready content from scratch? We are able to offer you that as well. So on the whole, we are able to address what the industry needs as on date, and we take pride in saying that we've been doing it for a lot of organizations for the last 15 plus years. Now, I'm going to talk about Kitaboo in a little more detail, right? So, from an ebook perspective and an ebook or a digital book ecosystem perspective, we've been working with both sides of the industry. So, publishers is the supply side, and institutions is the demand side. We've been catering to both these sides. Kitaboo is, as I said, is an interactive ebook or a digital textbook platform which is available on mobiles and tablets. Now, at a very high level, the key features of the product, we are able to offer this product as a white label solution. Okay, so the publisher or the institution can have their own branded and themed reader apps across all app stores. So that comes with your branding. Uh, the platform lets you create interactive content like we spoke about in the previous slide. You can take your PDFs or books in PDF formats, put them on the platform, make them interactive, add multimedia to it, and your interactive ebooks are ready. Uh, some more important things in terms of collaboration and sharing. So we spoke about the 4C matrix, and collaboration is an important piece. So when you talk about ebooks, you want to give the end user possibly an enhanced experience of accessing that content. So very quick example here can be that if I have a print book today, if I have a journal with me in a print format today, I can flip through pages, I can put a bookmark, I can make certain notes on a certain page, I can use a highlighter and highlight certain section of the book. So while we were creating Kitaboo, we wanted to ensure that we don't take away the print experience completely from the user, right? So in Kitaboo, the user is able to highlight certain sections of the text in the book. They are able to make comments, they can add sticky notes, uh, they can obviously, I mean, you know do everything. They can add a bookmark, they can do everything that they can typically do in a print book. But then we said, why not be able to elevate this experience, because now we are talking about a mobile enabled platform, right? So we should be able to enable collaboration on any annotations or user content that the user generates. So now the user does highlight a section, but they're also able to share that particular highlight with their group class and with their teachers and etc etc. So a two-way communication can happen on that content, right? Obviously, like I said, we want to ensure that we cater to all sections of the publishing community. So there are publishers who want to ensure that there are multiple channels of distribution, and certain channels accept a certain industry format, so we are able to give you an EPUB 3 output. uh, we also have a white label web store like I spoke about, so you can have your own branding and theming again and have your own white label web store ready. Another very important piece and feature that the platform offers is the analytics piece. So it is really nice for a teacher to be able to track the whole class and track the content consumption by each of the students in the class and on the class on average. So for example, if I have a class of 20 students, I want to understand for a particular ebook how much time has each student spent on that ebook, how many have been the total reading sessions, what is the average reading time per session. If you have multimedia in the book, you want to track how many interactivities or multimedia have been opened versus what were available in the book, right? So Kitaboo is able to offer you high-end analytics that can help you track your consumption, right? Now, obviously, this ecosystem, the publishing and the institution industry, they are, if you look at the present state of things and publishers and institutions that are digital already, uh, some of them also depend on learning management systems or LMS that they have deployed in their ecosystems. Kitaboo as a product is LTI compliant and can be integrated with any LMS that's LTI compliant. So what typically happens is you still use the Kitaboo creation platform to convert your existing content, or use Kitaboo author to create fresh content. Then all of that content, the creation piece of the Kitaboo platform, can be integrated with the LMS that you already have. All that content can go and sit in your LMS. You do your user management and your rostering and your course management, etc., through the LMS. And then the consumption side of things, we build you white label reader apps across iOS, Android, Windows, PC and Mac, desktop, online and offline readers. And we integrate all these reader apps back to your LMS and enable single sign-on for your users. So nothing changes for the end users. They still use the username and password that you've given them for the LMS. However, they just access the reader, and the reader is able to launch all the content from the LMS that you've been provisioning on the learning management system, right? So that's again at a very high level, and Another very important point is, we spoke about certain geographies that uh, lack infrastructure capability as on date. They are developing economies, and we're sure that that it's going to improve over the coming years. But in some cases, it becomes really important to ensure that uh, it's offline reading or offline content consumption is being enabled, right? So, and we take pride in saying that because Kitaboo is a solution. If you look at the native reader apps that we built for you, so if one of your users is using an iPad, okay, and you consuming content on the iPad, all they need internet for is to be able to log in to their account, and B, to be able to download a book from the bookshelf. The moment a book has been downloaded from the bookshelf, that book can now be consumed in an offline mode. You do not need internet for consuming a downloaded book, right? Now, because we are a cloud solution, as soon as there is any connectivity established again, any annotations or user generated content that the user generates on that particular book is synced back to the cloud and is made available across all devices. So if the same user logs in using an Android device or an Android tablet the next time, any annotations or notes that they've made on that particular book will be available for them even on that device, right? So that's at a high level, in a nutshell, what Kitaboo does. Last but not the least, it's a DRM protected platform. So all your content is protected by the Kitaboo DRM that we run on all your ebooks. So all your content is safe, and it cannot uh, so there is no scope for piracy, because all the content that you create on Kitaboo platform is kind of getting consumed on Kitaboo readers. You're able to put start date and end dates for a particular ebook for the user, and so in other words, you can give perpetual licenses for a particular book, or you can give time bound licenses. You can put device limits, so you can have a three device limit for a particular user, and if they try to log in from the fourth device, it will not give them access. So that's Kitaboo in a nutshell. I am going to get a little more into detail, and I'm going to touch upon some important factors that are, considering the present and the future requirements of the industry. So, social sharing, is something that's coming up. It's happening as on date as well, not uh, at a level that it can go up to when it's completely mobile-based learning, which is the near future that we perceive. Uh, Kitaboo as a platform is able to provide you those features. Like I mentioned, you're able to share notes with students and teachers. All these notes and annotations get auto synchronized whenever there is internet connectivity, just in case any annotations were made in an offline mode. uh, it's a consistent reading experience across all devices, so you can either have an Android device or a Windows tablet, or an iPad. The rendering is almost consistent. Of course, it also depends on the device quality, but from a user reading experience perspective, we try to maintain as much consistency as possible. uh, all the UGC is always stored and is never lost, even in an offline mode. uh, UGC is visible on all devices, right? So like I said, I can be using an iPad right now, make some annotations, do some highlights, make some notes, and then tomorrow use my desktop computer and go to the online Kitaboo reader. The moment I log in, I am able to see all the annotations that I made while I was using the iPad. Analytics is again a very important piece, because that lets publishers as well as institutions track their content consumption, right, and also gives them insight into how well is the content panning out. What is the quality of content? Is it being liked by the end users, etc. So basically you're getting valuable insights on the time that you spend, right, the time that students spend on all of your content, right. uh, from a publisher perspective, you can also understand and get insights into which part of your content is performing better, which part of your content is keeping your students engaged, right. because we provide powerful analytics, and if there is any LMS integration required, we can pass on all this analytics data back to the LMS, and you can do your further analytics through the LMS as well. So basically, we're capturing a lot of data, and it's powerful analytics that can help you modify your digital content. Right. So I did speak about being able to convert your existing PDFs into EPUB 3 fixed layout EPUB 3 formats. Now this is I can take pride in saying that we are kind of pioneers in this space. We've managed to achieve 100% automated fixed layout EPUB 3 conversion from PDF files. These are EPUBs that can be rendered on industry standard readers like iBooks and Readium. Okay. Uh, so as far as I know, and I know that a lot of publishers spend millions of dollars engaging services organizations across the world, and a lot of that work happens in India though. They use these service providers to send their PDF documents and then engage them to manually convert and make fixed layout EPUB 3 files. Yeah, on the Kitaboo platform, you're able to do that at the click of a button, right? So it's a huge uh, savings both in terms of time and money. And we are as a product, as I said, we are able to license this particular piece to publishers for if they want to use it for EPUB 3 conversion. Right. I did speak about uh, you know uh, the white label web store. So we've got working examples of white label web stores that we've developed for various publishing organizations globally across geographies. Uh, you know, it's a configurable solution, right? So, for example, if you wanted us to create a white label web store for you, we could do that a standard white label web store in about a 3 to 4 week window, right? Uh, that's that like I said, it's a configurable solution. You can do category management, you can do promotions management, you can enable geographic restrictions, you can integrate paywalls into the web store. So plus, just apart from enabling a B2C kind of environment, we are able to deliver channels like e-comping. So if you're servicing institutions directly and you want to distribute a set of free copies to professors, you can do that e-complimentary copies to professors. So that's a model that's inbuilt. You can have the sub publisher concept where you can invite other publishers to join your white label web store and host their content on your store. So in other words, I mean, it's a one-stop shop if you want to enable B2B, B2C, or B2B2C, or complementary kind of distribution models. Moving on to content creation, this is another important piece, and the way industry is moving, this is going to be one of the key factors for every publishing organization for evaluation. Most of the publishing companies that I speak with, and I can comfortably say that at least 50 to 60% of them are today evaluating an opportunity to be able to create digital content from scratch. Uh, when I say digital content, it is referring to HTML5 ready content. It is also referring to reflowable content, and to be able to create that from scratch is there are not many tools that can help you do that. So we are talking about our flagship product, Kitaboo Author here, that can that comes with that's a content authoring tool which comes with a rich template library. It's got built-in workflow solutions. It's a configurable and customizable solution. It comes with a library of templates. There are about 50 odd templates that are already in the platform. Plus, it's got blank text templates, and you've got the capability of being able to customize further templates. Uh, it gives you an HTML5 compliant output. It can also give you a SCORM compliant output. That so you can typically create e-learning courses in SCORM formats and then post them on your learning management systems and then consume it from there. From a tool perspective, it has various roles defined within the tool. So you can typically have a project head who's trying to create content on a certain topic. Then you can have authors, you can have copy editors, you can have proofreaders, you can have subject matter experts, and so on and so forth. So various roles that can be designed within the system. As I said, the output is HTML5 compliant or SCORM compliant. So this is a content authoring tool that addresses the need for the publishing industry. Okay, so I think we've kind of covered most of our discussion topics today, and this slide that I put together just to give you a little gist into what Kitaboo has been doing over the years for publishing and institutions industry globally. Uh, we've got more than 3 million plus students and teachers on the Kitaboo platform as on date across geographies. We've got presence across the United States, Australia, India, parts of Europe, and some parts of Africa as well. So this is where we are. Kitaboo is, in simple words, is transforming how content is being consumed across institutions globally, and we are happy to do that for each of you. We are happy to do that for all the publishing organizations and institutions. Uh, as on date, we are having healthy discussions across the publishing world because we understand where the industry is moving, and our solutions are ready to address that need for the industry. So that's about it from my side. And I think we've covered most of our topic. It is time to take some questions, and if you can notice, you have a questions tab on your webinar menu. I'll be happy to take any questions that any of you may have. All right, so I'm going to go with questions one by one. Okay. So I have this question where do we support multiple languages on our platform? Yes. So the answer to that is yes. We've been supporting, we've been providing multi-language support to publishers across the globe. So if you look at our publishing client, across parts of Europe, we've catered to Portuguese language, we've catered to Spanish, plus, we're building Arabic for one of our Middle East clients. So there are various language supports, and if you look at the Indian market, we have language support for vernacular languages in India, plus various global languages. So the solution can be localized as per the local language that you may want the solution to be localized. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, so the next question is a pretty interesting one. Then so the question really is that uh, what about geographies that have persistent internet issues, right? So and the answer to that is, I understand what it typically means, right? So we've got various kind of solutions that we can implement to address, infrastructure unavailability across geographies. So I can take an example here, and I can talk about one of the case studies that we did for a client in Africa. So they just didn't want to go ahead with a solution that is dependent on connectivity in any which way, and they wanted to ensure that they have an offline solution which is DRM protected. So we came up with a solution wherein we offered them a product based on USB distribution. So they had a bundle of books that they wanted to distribute to a set of schools. These were ebooks that were converted on the Kitaboo platform. We ran our proprietary DRM on those ebooks. We programmed them to a particular USB. So we created about 100,000 odd USBs for this particular customer, and then shipped those USBs back to the customer. Eventually, the solution really was that the end user will use that USB pen in a computer device and will start consuming those ebooks. Now, those ebooks can't be copied or distributed any further because that device typically marries itself with that particular computer or desktop. And because it is DRM protected and we've ran our proprietary DRM on that particular ebook, it cannot be copied to the local device's memory. Also, that ebook can only be rendered in a Kitaboo reader, right? So if you take that content and try to play it on any other particular reader, it won't show. It's all encrypted, right? So that's the solution that we gave to one of these customers. We've shipped more than about 500,000 USBs till now, and this is for publishers across various geographies, so who wanted a completely offline solution. Okay, I've got another question. Have we worked with any publishing organizations in the Eastern Europe geography? Yes, we have. We've got one of the largest publishers in Croatia as our customer. They are part of a large publishing group that has presence across 13 plus Eastern European countries. We are talking to another publisher in Slovenia. They are amongst the top two in that particular geography. Uh, we have a customer in Bolivia. We are talking to a couple of publishing organizations in Bulgaria. One of them has signed already, and we're talking to some more. So yes, and I can understand where this question will typically come from. It's basically trying to kind of understand if we can support those kind of languages and provide support in those geographies which may not be as advanced in terms of infrastructural development as the rest of Europe. So yes, we are catering to such customers, and they're pretty happy with us. We've got a long list of customers that we service in the Eastern European region. Moving on to the next question. All right. So the next question is: are we able to provide on-premise deployments of the Kitaboo solution? Uh, the answer to that is yes and no. Right. So it really depends on the requirement of our end customer, and uh, the idea really is that Kitaboo is a cloud solution. To answer that simply, why would a publisher want to spend a whole sum of money in setting up their self infrastructure, an in-house infrastructure, and then start creating content and hosting it there, and then having recurring costs, high recurring costs, I must say, in maintaining that in-house infrastructure, and then having the complete solution deployed on premise. When we started with the Kitaboo platform, the initial 4 or 5 customers that we acquired, and namely these were, McGraw Hill. These were, large publishing organizations from some parts of Europe. So we ended up doing an on-premise licensing kind of a model for them. But as on date, they've all moved back to our cloud solution because they realized that cloud is more scalable in nature. They realize that they can save enormous costs if they move to the cloud environment because we are doing everything for them. We are managing the whole infrastructure for them. Uh, they get their regular updates. So if you've got an on-premise solution and you've got your reader apps across iOS and Android and say PC and Mac, iOS has come up with iOS 9. Same time next year they might be coming up with iOS 10. So next year you would want somebody to go ahead and update your reader apps to be ready for iOS 10. If I do an on-premise deployment for any customer, that's from a cost perspective, that's an additional cost because you would want to engage us because we've built that code for you. You would want to engage us and deliver that update for iOS 10. But if you're part of our cloud infrastructure, you're anyways getting that update without any additional cost because we have to maintain our product for all our customers. So we deliver these additional features and additional updates without any additional cost to all our customers, right? So again, to summarize, the answer is yes and no. We don't mind doing either of them, but we obviously prefer that our customers go for our cloud infrastructure because that's going to be much beneficial to them. So I think we're done with the questions now. I don't see any further questions. I thank you all for your time today. If you notice, if you're able to see my screen, you can see the email ID. please use this email ID, or please use our website to contact us. We're also going to share a digital version of this webinar, a recording of this webinar with each one of you. So feel free to get back to us. We are here, and we'll be more than happy to address any publishing needs that you may have. And we can assure you that we've got a solution that's ready for the present state of business and for the future. Thank you very much for your time, and it was a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you.